Yes, Richard, how are you?
I am so blessed. I'm so grateful. I'm very
I am here
delighted.
now.
Mm.
Yes. Me too. It is such a beautiful day. So thank you very much, people, for joining us. Thank you for sparing the time to be with us. And my name is Grace Nzula. I'm a HR consultant and trainer with Atara Solutions. And Atara Solutions is a HR consulting and training company. We offer four services. We have HR manager outsourced, we have HR consultancy, we have learning and development, which includes team building and coaching. And then we also have recruitment and staffing. So if you're looking for any of those services, please get in touch with us and we'll be able to support your organizations in any particular way. You are tuned in to Get It Right with the Tara Solutions, which is a webinar series that seeks to demystify issues in employment and entrepreneurship. We do this every Tuesday from 8 p.m. So if you're joining us for the first time, please keep it here. We'll be here every Tuesday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. For wonderful discussions, different discussions. So Get It Right with Atara Solutions is about demystifying issues in employment and entrepreneurship. So once in a while, we'll bring in an entrepreneur. Once in a while, we're discussing issues that affect you as an employee and that affect you as an individual, because we need to come together. You can't really separate the three. So that is what we are about. And of course, we have my co-host. Probably ask Richard to introduce himself, and then we can introduce Catherine.
Thank you very much, Grace Nzula, the moderator of choice. We hope you are enjoying where you are, but we can always
I'm
we
back.
can see. Yes.
I'm back.
Great. Oh, great.
Yes, I'm back.
My name is
Yeah.
Richard B. Magoma, a human resource expert of very many years. And I am also a writer. I am a trainer. I am an event MC. And I love what we are doing right now. Sharing knowledge, sharing experiences, insights that will make us better employees, better business people. I am so happy to be here. This is fuel. Where there are people, people who love using their mouth, love where there are people. That is the fuel, and this is the fuel of the night. Thank you so much, Moderator of Choice.
Thank you. And of course, we have Catherine Sidandi. Yes, Fatma, Atara Solutions is a company that's NITA accredited, yes. So you can get your reimbursements. Yes, so we have Catherine Sidandi. Catherine Sidandi is our sign language interpreter. She supports us in being inclusive. She's a wonderful person. Catherine, you're doing such an amazing job. If you have an event or you have any training sessions that you wish to be inclusive, please get in touch with Catherine Sidandi. She's available both physically and online, and she does an amazing job. So please do not leave a section of our people out. Take advantage of the services offered by Catherine Sidandi, our sign language interpreter. Allow me to quickly just give a shout out to organizations that we are working with, and I'll make it very quick because I can see time is not on our end. We have Nile Front cottages. Nile Front cottages are cottages located in Jinja, Uganda. They are one of the most amazing places I've been to. You can take a boat ride to where like 5 minutes to where the River Nile meets River Victoria. They have wonderful sunsets and sunrises. Then we have Elsamere. Elsamere is here in Naivasha. If you're looking for a vacation to take or a place to just go and chill with your loved one or your friends or just by yourself, then Elsamere will be your place. And then we have Steadfast Quality Solutions. Steadfast Quality Solutions is a HR and PR consulting company located in Uganda. They are into board evaluation. So if you're looking to have your board evaluated, if you're looking to have board trainings, and also if you're looking for a coach, this organization is led by my good friend Herbert Zake, who is also a certified coach. Who has coached over 500 executives. He's also a certified Gallup strength coach. So take advantage and get in touch with Herbert Zake. We have K Square HR Services. K Square HR Services is our partner in Rwanda. There's a conference happening in Rwanda. The conference that was in August was moved to November 20th to 22nd. And of course, our partner K-Square HR Services is there. If you're looking to partner with anyone in Rwanda, then K-Square HR Services will be able to support you. Then we have Profiles International. Profiles International is a training, and they do quite a number of things, but they're the only people who are certified in Africa to offer Genius emotional intelligence coaching. So if you want to become an emotional intelligence coach, please take advantage of Profiles International. They have the certification that runs for 6 weeks. It's such an amazing session. I'm actually sitting in mine right now, and it's such an amazing opportunity. Please take advantage, and it's also not too expensive, and you get to become a certified coach, and also get to improve on emotional intelligence, besides also learning how to support others. That is Profiles International. They also offer psychometric assessments. So if you're doing recruitment and you wish to have psychometric assessments, then you need to tap into Profiles International. And then my favorite time of the day, we have a Let's Tea Pwani edition coming up on the 13th of September. This is going to be taking place in Mombasa. So for those of you from coast here, or for those of you who are anywhere in the world and you want to join us for this session, please come. Let's have tea in Mombasa. It's only for 1,000 shillings, and it's going to be taking place at Hotel Sapphire at the city center. So please come join us and let's have tea, let's learn, let's interact, let's network. It's going to be on a Friday evening from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. and be on the lookout for the speakers of the day at that point. So Richard, back to you, sir, and tell us, how are we going to innovate on matters employee morale?
Thank you so much, for Grace, for that very wonderful introduction and telling us who have sponsored this particular conversation. In life, we have to work so that we can get money, so that we can do the bills that we have. We have to be productive, we have to be efficient, we have to relate, we have to do all sorts of things so that we can be paid. But how then can we be paid so that we keep on increasing our productivity? How do we increase our productivity? How do we increase our productivity? That is a very good question. How do we increase the productivity of the colleagues or stakeholders that are within the organization? What is boosting? Boosting is to advance, to uplift, to empower somebody to work better. And innovation is the thought process that brings new things into place so that you can continuously and frequently raise the performance levels of employees. And how do you do this? What are some of the well-researched methods of enhancing employee energy, enthusiasm for work, the morale, the determination, the inspiration to work more? How then do you do it? One of the easiest ways, to me, having worked for a long time, is to create an enabling work environment. Most of us have complained at one point or the other about toxic work environment. I don't think there's anybody who can work so well and become productive, perform at the highest levels in a situation where there is poison. Poison poisons the energy of the people who are working in that organization. And some of the things that poison organizations, for example, is lack of professionalism, lack of tools of trade, lack of clear policies, lack of procedures. So once you've realized those are some of the things that will create a poisonous environment, is to remove them so that the employees can start having the energy to work better. We have been told several times that culture eats strategy. It doesn't matter really whether you have one of the best strategies or the best plans or the best resources. If you have a culture that reduces the energy or demoralizes the people, the stakeholders within that organization, you are not going to have stakeholders, or you're not going to have employees that will work at the highest level that they can. So the best thing leaders and managers should do is to create a positive work environment whereby professionalism is embraced, where professionalism has been internalized. You recruit professionals, you recruit highly committed people who can be able to bring results, people who believe in outcomes. So, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that we need to do as HR people, as leaders, is to create a positive work environment. This evening, I was talking to somebody who is looking for a job, and she's unable to say, should I go to that interview and say, the reason why I resigned is because the work environment was toxic. It is us who should create that environment. We have a collective responsibility to create a very positive work culture where we promote professionalism, where we promote better hiring processes, better policies. We benchmark with the best so that we can create that environment that is not going to sap the energies of the employees that are working within that organization. That is one of the things that I've found, that if you create a culture, and we define culture as a set of beliefs, a set of values, a set of norms that an organization espouses. And it is not a question of having those core values that we normally put on the notes board. No, it is the practice, the internalization of those practices, so that we embrace those core values. Then the people who are working in those organizations, they are more enthusiastic, they are more zealous in working. What is the second thing that does a lot of wonders besides culture? It is the question of personal development. Will I develop within this organization? What are my career prospects? You and me know that there are people who have left particular jobs because there are no career prospect. It doesn't matter whether they are paid highly. They want to see there is a career progression within the organization, career progression that is supported by policies, career progression that is supported by procedures, career progression that is supported by processes. That is when people will see, yes, I have a future. This organization is stable and it supports my career growth. That is one of the things that becomes fuel to an employee to become more energetic, that if I work better, I will be promoted. If I work better, I'll get incentives. If I work better, I will get bonuses. If I get better, I'll get a particular position. So ask yourself, what are the guidelines? What are the strategies that we as professionals have put in place so that employees realize that prospects for growth are there? Prospects of growth are there. So we should have policies that promote career progression. They should be in place. That is one of the things that, to me, I have seen, and research shows that when you have that career progression plan for the organization, people tend to be uplifted, people tend to be empowered, people tend to be inspired to perform better and better and better. The third strategy that I have seen and research can bear me witness is the capacity for leaders to appreciate. Some of us have a problem in appreciating. They are stingy with appreciating employees, especially when you are a leader. We should learn to appreciate the capabilities, the attitude, the results that an employee is able to to put out. For example, like me and Grace. Grace has won so many trophies, not like me. I have a few trophies, but one of the ones that I'm very proud about is this one that has never left my table. It inspires me. Whenever I feel demoralized, I just look at that trophy and say, yes, I can do it again. I can be able to overcome a sense of being demoralized and do better. It reminds me, it makes me jump out of bed. That sense of appreciation. If somebody has done something good within their key performance indicators, be able to recognize. If you go to certain organizations, you will see organizations have put employee of the year, employee of the month, at the podium, not the podium, at the lobby. You will see the picture of an employee there, and they have been recognized. Whichever methods they have used in coming up with the process, we should deliberately encourage the leaders within the organization to bring out that competition of bringing the people who have excelled. We should appreciate. We should not be stingy. If somebody has done well, let us appreciate them with that picture within the organization, rewards, bonuses for doing very, very well. The other bit that I have
Richard,
seen, yes, please.
Maybe I could also pose to ask a question there. A lot of people think that when you do recognition for staff members, the staff members want a pay increase. How can you balance the two so that then the recognition does not necessarily mean that you will always get a promotion, you will always get an increment, because a lot of people and a lot of HRs and a lot of business owners will not recognize their staff when they do something very good because they're afraid. How do you do
that? Question is very good, and I think it is a misplaced fear that every time that you recognize an employee, you need to give them money. Money is a scarce resource. In fact, one of the reasons we are here is to promote the value of intrinsic morale boosting. Money is not available to HR people, to managers and leaders to be dishing. And that is why we are going to look at how have you communicated? What are the elements of the policies? What do they say? You are being recognized for a quarter of the year. So you cannot expect that you will be given money. In fact, you should be told that we are going to give you a certificate, and this certificate, you can put it on your CV, for example, and it can be used for future prospects. So it does not follow that when you do that performance assessment and reach to a conclusion that so and so has performed well, it does not necessarily have to attract extrinsic benefits. It is something that you are putting as a culture that we are going to recognize you, and our policy says that we will put your picture somewhere. We will be able to send emails that so and so has been able to reach their targets, and it doesn't have to be connected to money. So the thing that needs to be done is to have very clear policies. At what point in time should you use money as a motivator? At what point in time are you using simple appreciation, like saying, Richard, you're wearing a very good coat, or you have been able to achieve your quarterly goals. So it is the question of proper, clear, well-known communication. And we say communication is the lifeblood of organizations. Once you make those things clear within your policies and have communicated that policy, therefore the person is not going to say that, let me expect money to come my way now that I've been the employee of the quarter. It is a question how you communicate. So the fear, Grace, is misplaced. It should not be there. It is just feeling good about your performance. And we should have clear methodologies that are going to be used in analyzing the performance of somebody. We have clear policies, we have clear procedures, and the communication so that nobody expects money to come their way because they have performed very well. For example, me and you know, we've been given trophies and we have not been given money, and we have kept it. I know you treasure that trophy, you treasure that certificate. You are able to go to webinars, for example, to conventions, to conference, and they say, I am a double award winning You know, that is the ability to brand. It brands you. It means that you are very professional. It means that you know what you're doing. So Grace, achievements do not necessarily have to attract extrinsic rewards like promotion, like money. No, it is a question that we are going to do a certificate for you. We are going to inform our employees. We are going to do a picture, such simple things. Remember, the greatest psychologist of all time, that is James William, has told us one of the most important things in a human being's life is to feel important. And recognizing and appreciating an employee is one of those things that will make an employee feel connected to an organization. Professionals recognize money is not there all the time. So recognition alone is priceless. You do not have to struggle with the people who approve budgets. You can do it. There are so many creative. Sending a card, for example, Grace, sending an email, putting a picture of somebody. People will say, yes, I've done well. It's not a question of money all the time, because money is a scarce resource.
Yeah, and you can use a flyer as well for recognition. You can do
Yes.
a flyer and an e-flyer as well. But I think when it comes to matters boosting morale and recognitions, sometimes and especially in the era of multi-generational workforce, I think it is important that we ask the people, how would you feel valued in this organization? If you can run a survey on engagement, if you can run a survey on what can the organization do for you to make you feel valued, that is not necessarily money based, because unfortunately sometimes people may just focus on the money, but we all know that money is not everything, and we may not really afford it, but we also want to create a culture where we appreciate one another, where we raise the morale of the team. So yeah, continue, Richard. You were saying point number 2.
Yeah, I was going to point number 5 or something. The other thing that you can do to elevate people's morale within the organization, if you are at the head of department, you can give high performers a chance to be people who are driving certain projects. For example, you want to amend and adjust policies of the organization. Give somebody to be the team lead. They will be very happy that they've been able to drive projects. You are giving them a chance to be leaders. You are giving them a chance to manage something. Give them a chance to drive projects. When there is a need for a project, give people a chance to be the leaders or project managers. That can really drive morale of particular employees, especially when you see high performance that you are seeing this person. If I give them the project, they will be very happy, and they will be putting this on their CV, of course, and they will be very appreciative. So if I am given a chance to be a project manager, a project lead, that is something that I will not forget, that I've been given, I've been recognized. My performance has been, I will be so energetic. I will be able to set the objectives of this project. I'll be able to learn a lot of things. I'll bring my team together and we'll be able to accomplish this task. So the other thing that can boost morale to our employees, because as we have said, money is a very scarce resource and it's not available for dishing every other time, because the process of approving money to be given to employees takes a lot of time. Those are easy things to do. Project-driven things that you give to employees. What is the other thing that you can do, Grace, so that you improve the morale? Post-COVID, Grace, the issue of wellness has become so important to forward-looking organizations that you have to train your employees. How do you manage stress? How do you acquire skills like emotional intelligence quotient? You've mentioned Profiles International, that they train people to become emotional intelligent. Remember, you cannot succeed by intelligence quotient alone. You will need emotional intelligence so that you can become a fully functional human being. That is wellness. You bring trainers, you bring coaches, you bring mentors, so that people can learn what is it about emotional intelligence. How can I apply it within the work environment? How can I apply it outside the work environment so that I can become a better human being? Remember, there are so many advantages that are accrued towards somebody acquiring emotional intelligence. People should not look at that we are acquiring emotional intelligence because we want to be better workers. We want to be better human beings as well, because when you hire a human being, you hire a fully functional human being who goes to work and comes out of work. And if you equip them with skills like emotional intelligence, that is a morale booster. You can give them certificates. For example, I was training a certain organization on emotional intelligence. I had made up very good certificates. You know, when somebody goes with that certificate home and they're able to show their spouses, their children, they feel very good. Another thing about wellness that you can train about is financial wellness. You look at people within the organization, there are people who come for advance. We call them usual suspects. If you train people about financial wellness, how they should use their money, what the president says about people should live within their means, you train people to acquire how do you do budgeting, how do you use money. You know, such skills are very important to a human being. So if I'm able to acquire financial intelligence, financial wellness, I would say this organization cares about me. So as I've said, post-COVID, the issue of wellness has been determined to be one of the determinants of the bottom line. So as leaders, as managers, we should be very focused on how we should look at the wellness of our employees. If there is the question of stress management, if there is the issue of relationship management. In some countries, we call them employee-assisted programs. So introduce such programs, they will really inspire an employee to say, yes, I have a sense of belonging. And it creates a sense of ownership, grace. If there is no sense of ownership within the organization, people will not achieve their goals when there is no need for one to think, okay, I should be loyal to this organization. Those are the small things that will boost the energies, the enthusiasm of an employee to perform better. So wellness is something that we need. And these days, we do not need a lot of money. You only need a specialist. You pay them. You can even bring people to do pro bono. There are people, even in insurance, these days I'm told that when they give you that package of medical cover, they bring the issue of mental wellness discussions. Grace, you can correct me if I'm wrong. They bring that issue of wellness. It is something that you have got to put deliberately, that my employees, after a certain time, they should have a wellness talk so that they can become more rejuvenated, because the sources of stress, the sources of being demoralized are within and without the organization. So if you deliberately and intentionally bring coaches, mentors, trainers who can be able to elevate the spirit, you can even bring motivational speaker. I'm trying to market myself. For 2 hours, you can bring those people to energize people for 2 hours. You do not need a whole day to go to a restaurant so that you can pay a lot of money. 10,000, 2,000, 5,000, you are done. And you've really brought that energy of reframing people's perspective in energies so that they can continue what. There are so many things that can demoralize somebody. So wellness is very, very, very important. What is the other way that, Grace, we can bring a lot of empowerment, a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of loyalty to the organization? It is involvement. You can see even the Constitution, especially, I should mention the Constitution of Kenya, it's so particular about participation. If you let employees participate in programs, they brainstorm, they give ideas, they give perspective, it is easier to implement something that employees have been consulted, they have been involved. And that is where sometimes in interviews we ask, what is your type of leadership? So that we can know, do you believe in democracy? Do you believe in participation? Do you believe in involvement? You know, you've seen situations whereby if an employee is not involved in a project, they'll say, oh, I wasn't involved, and then I couldn't get inside there. But if you want your employees, even if you have the answers, even if you are the alpha and omega of having answers about things within the organization, at least make employee feels appreciated by that involvement in discussing the things that affect the organization. So involvement participation, brainstorming. It is something that has been found to increase the level of work-related issues. So if you want to improve the energy levels of your employees, try as much as possible to involve. And that is why, Grace, we train people active listening. Actively listen, even if you are a genius, actively listen to your employees so that they feel that they have contributed. They have contributed towards the change of a policy, the change of a procedure, the change of a project. They have put in their brains. So promote involvement. That is something that we as leaders, we as managers need to think about so strongly. What is the other thing that can be a morale booster? There are people who can work well when they are working alone. What I'm trying to say is this: flexi working hours. There are certain type of employees that work better when they are flexi working hours, so long as you have designed a performance management system that is able to assess the deliverables. You do not have to micromanage somebody so that they can become better in terms of bringing results. We should have a performance management system in place. We should train people so that they are able to work from. I know several organizations whereby flex working hours is really encouraged. It's part of the culture. The thing is, what are the results that you have brought after being told work from some corner of, especially post-COVID, Grace, we realized that most of organizations are really promoting the issue of working remotely. And it has worked, especially if it is in line with the culture that is within the organization. So promote flexi working hours. It will really do a lot in giving morale, energy, in creating responsibility, and etc., etc. And the other thing that can really help us, Grace, to become better at what we do in terms of, I believe the 123 people here are people who are leaders. It is the issue of surveys. Recently, I wrote an article on how to audit culture, and I remember it was inspired, by the way, by the Daktari of the Daktari from UG. She really inspired me to write that article. You should do a culture audit. You know, you could bring all the money, you could bring all the best policies. If you do not do a culture audit, your morale booster strategies will not work. You have to do surveys. You have to come up with questions that ask questions that employees will give you feedback. You have to do questionnaires. You have to do surveys. You have to do, it is feedback. We are told that feedback is the food for champions. Yes, feedback can be very tough sometimes, but it is the basis upon which we become better. If I improve because of the criticism or because of the feedback you have given me, I'll become a better employee, and the chances of improving the performance of that particular employee are very. So promote feedback, and don't wait for December. That is when you are giving your performance appraisal result, because there are so many things we know that happen when we wait at the tail end of the year for us to give performance. And the other thing that I've seen organizations, they do surveys, they do very good questionnaires, and then the report just goes there. Nobody tells the employees what came out. There is no analysis. Even if there is no analysis, there is no feedback, probably because the leaders and managers fear what is in the report. But if you want your organization to prosper, have energy, the best kind of climate, the best kind of organizational intelligence is to bring the result, even if it is so tough, bring the results of those surveys. To me, I will definitely say that those surveys can give you perspective. The things that you do not want to be known will be known, and you will be able to move forward. The other thing that I've seen that can promote morale is promote a competitive culture. Say that whoever who does X, Y, and Z will get this, we'll get this. So competition is not bad, and the competition does not disqualify collaboration, because that is another bit that really can promote the energies of people. Promote certain competitions within the organization that bring out the creative energies, the critical energies of people. There are people who love competition. That is why competitions are there. We have recently seen the conclusion of sports. It is because there are trophies, because there is money, that will make the organization realize its potential, realize its strategic ends. So you can design competitions that will bring out the best of the people that are existing within that organization. The other thing that I'm going to repeat is open communication. We are told by researchers and experts that communication is the fuel. Communication is the lifeblood of organization. If you do not promote open communication, if you do not promote transparent communication, what's a powerful grace? What, especially when well chosen very well, they can promote the positivity, the optimism, the energy of the organization. If you look at organizations that do not fare very well, you will realize that their communication skills are not up to the required standards. People communicate less, people hide information, they are not transparent. Organizations that are managed by grapevine, organizations that are managed by rumors. If you let your organization be managed by rumors, it is going to suck the energy out of the team players. What is the other thing that we can do so that we can promote energy, we can promote enthusiasm, we can promote the zeal of the team players? It is things like team activities. Grace, you're an expert in team building. I'm also an expert in team building. Sometimes it is good to take people to certain places outside the organization and do team building. You know, team building teaches us how should we communicate, how should we solve complex problems, how should we solve crises. Team building actually works to me, if you ask, because I've been in very many team building moments, and I have seen people tend to know each other. If we have an organization whereby there are silos where finance does not know what audit is doing, what human resources is doing, what another department is doing, those silos tend to reduce the energy of the organization. But if we are able to collaborate, if we are able to create synergies out of team building activities, this will make us learn about our colleagues. This will make us learn about our colleagues. You cannot work efficiently or effectively or productively with somebody you do not know very well. And that is the end game of team building activities. So as leaders, we should promote team building. We should have a budget, and you don't need a lot of money. You do not need a lot of money. It is setting the objectives of what you want to treat in your team building activities. And that I have seen people becoming very happy that at least they have been out of the office today and they have eaten imbuzi. For those people who come from outside, imbuzi is goat meat. People in Kenya, we love that very much. People have eaten, people have learned each other. Misconceptions about people have been removed. So promoting collaborative activities will really boost the energy of the organization. The other thing that we can do to promote the energy levels, the enthusiasm levels, is professional development. You can imagine if an organization paid for you your CPD points. You can imagine if an organization paid for your practicing license. Will you be loyal? Will you be very energetic? Of course, yes. And it does not require a lot of money. It is just being considerate. It will create that sense of loyalty. You will be, okay, this organization gives me these benefits. You can imagine what you can do for those people who come from bodies that you have to be certified. Imagine if your organization paid for your CBD points, if it paid for your certificate, if it paid for your educational development. Those are things that will make an employee to stay longer within the organization? Why do we ask the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What do you think will make you remain within an organization? It is not salaries alone. It is such things that people consider before they jump ship. So professional development, have a budget for training people, have a budget for coaching people, have a budget for mentoring people, have policies about personal development so that people get inspired. Besides getting this pay, I also get professional development. Grace, I don't know if you have something to contribute as well, maybe something or maybe a question that can be able to excite our thought processes.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about the culture and just doing surveys, they say that when your employees leave because of salaries, they can come back. But when they leave because of culture, that's it. They're just gone and gone because they do not want to take part in a culture that is really quite inhibiting. But I think the other thing that we can do is create a culture of innovation and engagement. Like allow people to come up with solutions. You know, what we propose in management nowadays and in HR, it's to lead through asking questions. You know, what can I do to help? How can I make this better? What can I do? What can I do? Because we realize that we are dealing with a lot of stresses. We are dealing with we cannot come and subscribe, you know, like prescribe rather a solution to you. Please give us solutions. And when you realize that people are not willing, then it means that we do not have we have not created a psychological safety where people know that when I suggest this, it will not be used against me. But unfortunately, some of us, it's when an employee suggests something, we're going to use it against them. And unfortunately, we also end up embarrassing them. So we need to create a framework or an opportunity where there's psychological safety, and then there's also culture that supports innovation, so that then people can own and they'll come and tell you, my friend, I think we've worked for too long. Please, can we do a team building? Or there's something we call lunch and learn. You know, you spare 30 minutes of your lunch, bring pizza and soda or bring chicken in, something, you know, eat, provide lunch and learn. Have one person teach the others what happens in their departments. That way you also help in creating other leaders, because the other thing about motivation is not just about the organization itself, it's also about creating leaders. And I tell you what, they say that if you're a leader who cannot grow other leaders, then you have no business being a leader. So you need to also create spaces where you're growing leaders that can actually take on other positions. And that goes strongly in succession planning, so that then you become you become a leader of the people, right? And I see Peter here saying HR need to be active partners to business strategies and join the team on a day-to-day activities. Absolutely. I remember my former boss used to say, Grace, don't just sit in your office. Go on the ground, understand what's happening on ground. Don't just sit there and prescribe the solutions. No. And that's the same way we do our consultancy. We're not just going to come in and do, in fact, our model is we do audits first, because we want to understand the organization. We want to give you solutions that are based on your organization, so that then, unless it's an advisory role, and we really want to understand your organization so that we can give you solutions that qua ground, things that are going to work. Otherwise, if you just come and prescribe solutions, they will not work, I tell you. The other thing I think in terms of engagement and involvement is letting people participate and also owning the process. Allow them to drive the recognition part, you know. Don't just come and say, you know what, we're going to recognize you and this is no. Let them come up, brainstorm with them, let them come up with solutions. You know, we are going to be doing this. How do we appoint the people to recognize? How do we recognize the others? You know, such things, so that then they come up, they give you, so that they can own the process, so that it does not become an HR process. It becomes a we. process. And that way, when we are doing monitoring and evaluation of the activities that you put in place, it becomes easier to say, let's improve here, let's improve there. Otherwise, you end up facing what do we call it? You end up facing resistance. And I can see Fatma asking, how can you achieve personal development without a budget? One, we have a lot of free sessions nowadays, including the YouTube University. You just go to YouTube. Our sessions here, we record, we go on YouTube. There is so much on YouTube. There's so much on Instagram. Social media is an amazing tool that can help you develop yourself. So you can go to YouTube. Let me give you a secret. This is what I do every time in the morning as I prepare myself for work. You know, the way you leave your shower and you come, you want to prepare, slowly oil yourself and all those things. I have actually something playing from YouTube, because I like listening to audiobooks. So that is my session for audiobooks. I will listen, I will, I hear something, I normally have a notebook somewhere, I'll just note it down, because it's also personal development. Again, if you don't have a budget, come to Atara Solutions. There are quite a number, I am telling you. There's so many sessions that happen nowadays for free on Zoom that you can really, all you need is to spare time. It's not necessarily free, because you have to give your time and your data. That is what you need to sacrifice. And also be in spaces where people are also developing each other. We have a coffee date coming up for 1,000 bob. Instead of attending a training that you'll pay 75,000, we're also coming down to you and saying, you know what, if you're able to pay 1,000 shillings, you can come and you can learn. You can also network with people that will support you. So that, I think, is very important. But there's something that I saw here, Richard, that I found was quite interesting. Please share a culture survey questionnaire. There's a comment. Oh yeah, here we go, Richard. From Elizabeth. She says, I worked somewhere for 2 years, did my best till the institution got better. To an extent, the better paying institution around the place showed interest in me, and the school refused to let me leave, only to send me the termination letter at 11:03 p.m. through an email without any communication. I got hurt to an extent. I fear putting my best foot forward.
Let me tell you something, Grace. When you squeeze an orange, what comes from an orange?
The orange juice.
Yeah, the orange. You will not have lemon out of it. If you are to be an excellent performer, don't let somebody's ways of doing things get it. Do you know what it will do to you? You will stop developing because somebody is going to stop you. Do not let your personal culture be influenced by someone, especially when it is detrimental. You can imagine when you go to an interview and I stopped performing very well because I was hurt in another relationship. You can imagine your past relationship affecting the current relationship. So to me, you shouldn't carry over the heartaches that happened in a different organization. You should do the best because that is your signature. That is you are. You believe in excellence, you believe in quality, you believe in promoting collaboration. Those are the values drive. In fact, some of the things that should promote energy, what are the value systems? Being mediocre is not a value system you want to embrace. Doing substandard work is not what you could want to be associated with. To me, you better get out of that environment and look. By the way, it's only God who can stop you from, it is God and you can stop you from becoming better. The other person who is putting roadblocks in the way for you not to perform. There are people who are mischievous. You should not let them determine how you're going to do your work. You do your thing, so long as you know you are doing it within your professional boundaries, so long as you do that, it is something that you can mention respectively in a forum. So do not be demoralized. Do not lose your ability to be a better person, because when we ask questions during interviews, why should we hire you? What is the question about? What have you done? What are your achievements? You cannot give excuses why you were unable to do better. And again, that is your signature. So I do not see Eunice, why, or is it Eunice or Elizabeth, why you should be demoralized by a previous employer. We have people who are mad in the world. We have people who are sick in the world. So should you let them drive your professional development? Certainly not. You do your thing within your professional requirements. That experience, let it be a learning moment. Let it be something that you can mention that, yes, it was supposed to bring me down, but hey, I was able to overcome it and become a better person. So be more energized, be more enthusiastic, set your goal, your smart goals, be purposeful, have a lot of energy, attend seminars, attend conferences. Not only should you attend, be the one to give them and become better and better. That thing is going to save you. Becoming a better person is going to save you than the other one, which is historical, which is meant to be a test, an acid test.
That's true, and I think you're also dealing with a traumatic experience, and like you can see, the person who fired you felt threatened by the fact that you are flourishing, and that has nothing on to you. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with their perception of what it meant for you to be wanted by another person. That is not on you, and that should not be used to bleed on someone else. So I ask of you to try and heal from that trauma so that you can also give your best. The world deserves the best of you. The world deserves a better version of you. So it because you don't take the actions of another person and make them define who you become. You choose to be better because the difference between you and them is the fact that you can take control and you can choose what to do better. It's their loss. If they wanted to, it's really, really their loss. And it has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with you. So instead of looking at it as a point of hurt, maybe you look at it as a learning, first of all, you recognize that that was done. Then you take it as a lesson, like Richard has said. But more importantly, you also look at it from a point of how can you use it to make yourself better? And how can you support other people better? So heal from that trauma, my friend. Heal from it. It's going to block you from becoming the best version of yourself. And my friend, let me sound like a motivational speaker. You only have one life to live, and the world deserves the best from you. So please give us your best. And I can tell you, good work pays. Sometimes it hurts, but good work pays. I am a living testimony that consistency in doing good, it actually pays off, of course. And when you're thriving, when you're thriving, you become a threat to people who cannot handle your good energy. So it's not up to them, it's really up to you. There's a question of sin. How do I get staff to participate in surveys as they usually don't like filling them? Richard.
When you see people resisting
Is
to
it me?
participate, you're getting me, Grace?
Yes, I can hear you. I think I'm the one who has frozen. Yeah.
Okay. When you see employees do not participate in surveys, it is because of the previous trauma, if I should use Grace's term. If you did survey and the implementation was zero, then you can expect to have that resistance because previous surveys, previous questionnaires were not responded to. The results were not available. So it is for you to starting communicating in a very dependable, in a very reliable. It is a question of change management, and change management is a thing that probably, Grace, we should tackle at some point. Why people resist change? You should discover the reasons why you have very few people participating. Then from there, you start, how should I respond to this resistance? and even even the few that respond, in change management, there are people we call early adapters. You will have early adapters. You can reward early adapters so that you can start making people believe that, yes, when we do surveys, there are results. Start rewarding those people who change very fast. Start rewarding them so that people can have a change of mind. And HR people are the people who believe in transforming people, transforming people's beliefs, transforming people's resistance. So first and foremost, Grace, I remember there is a time, I think it's last year, we did something called root cause analysis. You have got to do root cause analysis of why they have a poor perception. Because if there is an element of ownership, that survey will be responded very well. But if you did not implement the results of the survey, then you're going to have a difficult moment. And that's why we started at the beginning of our conversation, that culture drives everything. Ask yourself why there is low turnout in terms of responding to surveys. So you have got to do a course analysis. Why are people not responding? So that you can now start building a culture that is responsive, a culture that is customer-centric, a culture that has design thinking in it, so that you can overcome. And HR people should, I'm sure we have different professions, but let me talk to HR people who believe that change management can happen when you have the right tools. First and foremost, know the causes of that resistance. From there, then you can provide solutions. And there are professionals. Grace is here, is a professional in terms of managing resistance to change. She can advise, and that is where consultants come in. Why do you have that low resistance? Then improve your communication. Bring about involvement. We have mentioned the issue of involvement. Also, reward if you have got the ability, because you have got, if you don't do it, the organization will start dying slowly if you do not cure the culture of resistance to such important things, because we are told that engagement to organizational things determines the bottom line. If you do not check on the level of engagement, then you have lost those people. You need to recalibrate. You need to start measuring the reasons why. Just like when you go to a clinic or a hospital, the first thing a doctor asks you, how are you feeling today? The symptoms. From the symptoms, the doctor is able to calibrate what kind of medication that we cannot prescribe before we do a diagnosis. So do a diagnosis why people are hesitant in doing that survey. From there, you can be able to see, should I call in a specialist, which something that Atara Solutions does very well, so that you are able to move forward. There is nothing that cannot be overcome. Assuming
Richard,
the top, yes.
If I may add, sometimes you think surveys are questionnaires that people need to fill. It's not necessarily. You can actually get these focus group discussions. There's one-on-one conversations. There are so many ways that you can get information that if people don't want to really, like Richard has said, if they don't want to fill in the form, of course, you need to do a root cause analysis and ask the why questions. Then after you ask the why questions, as you figure that out, it doesn't mean that work stops. So you need to also find other ways. Are they comfortable speaking out? Because the culture or the information they give has also been used against them. So how do you also allow them to have free space, or rather safe space, to open up, not necessarily by filling a form, because maybe the form does not make them feel safe. Then there's somebody who is asking, is it advisable to share engagement service results by department? Is it the norm? Please share your experience. Our organization seems to think that feedback is not anonymous because we are able to slice down the results by department. I agree with them. If you have told me the feedback is anonymous, so how are you able to know that this is coming from sales department and this one is coming from production? Even I would not answer it. But if it's a general feeling, you compile the report, have a discussion. In fact, my favorite one is I don't just share a report. we discuss the report and the findings because people want to be part of it. And then it does not point at one person. You know, when you point at the who, it stops being something for all of us. It becomes something for that person. And probably it becomes very embarrassing. So as you build people's confidence to be able to speak, then if you're doing anonymous surveys, please make them anonymous. If you start grouping them into departments, it's no longer anonymous unless you have decided this is a survey specifically for this department. Then you do the survey for that department and align it for that department. The other thing that I think Peter has also said, we need to define our clear deliverables. What is our expectation of this role? That is another way to create more, to boost morale. What do we need you to deliver? How can we support as an organization for you to deliver results? When you don't deliver, how do we deal with a non-delivery? Because at some point, please remember, you're also in the business of making profit or something, right? And then I've seen somebody asking, how do you create flexi hours for people in medical hospital, working in a hospital? Look, sometimes it may not be practical to have flexi hours in a hospital. It's also saying like you have flexi hours for people who work in production. Sometimes it's not possible. So what we recommend here does not necessarily mean it will work for your organization. Now, this is where again, engaging the staff members to tell you other ways that they can be motivated other than getting flexi hours. Because flexi hours means that, but you already have probably flexi hours because you're doing shifts. Shifts is also one model of flexi hours. So you can also see about the night shift, how many people want to do night shift. And simple things like new moms should be protected from doing, new moms and new dads should be protected from doing night shift. That is one way to also boost morale. There are those simple things that you need to do that we call them humanizing the workplace. You know, fairness. You know, you don't honor other people. You're not using I mean, you're not punishing specific people only. You humanize the workplace. Then when you humanize the workplace, people start feeling safe in the workplace. So what are these small humane things that you can do that can make people feel valued? And one of them is, are you allowing other people in the meetings, or do you only when there is outside trips, you only do one person? How are you humanizing this, right? Then when there are opportunities, how many are you open to offering people opportunities? The other day we were running trainings for free with Frank Wambari. Did you ever take advantage and supported your team because you don't have a budget? You know, how can you take advantage of such things and allow your team to come? Or are you always choosing one person? So humanizing the workplace is also another way that you can use to support your team members. There's somebody who was asking, is it to the you give the e-flyer recognition to the employee to feel for themselves, to capture the things they feel they've done well? Does it work? Now, the e-flyer is the end result. You have already done the process. So this is recognition for the work they have done, not the process. And you cannot just do one person. The process is supposed to be for everyone so that you can decide, you know what, this is the best performing employee. What are the metrics that you will develop to show that this is the best performing employee? So it is important that you also put in mechanisms that will be fair and just in the organization so that everyone feels like they own the process and everyone is part of the process. Now, the most important one is getting the buy-in from senior management. Your leadership needs to give you buy-in. It needs to allow it. So it is also up to you to speak the business language when it comes to boosting employee morale. Somebody is saying we use a software that allows us to filter the results. We truly don't know, and it is anonymous. Well, maybe you need to work on that software again and remove that part for filtering per department. Why is it filtering per department? You know, if it's anonymous, make it fully anonymous. Talk to the person who developed that software. If you join an organization that doesn't do employee training and HOD only keeps on having conflicts, even to the extent where you should say whatever you need to send on email, then they have bias. They respond when they feel like. Richard, do you understand that?
What I can say, Grace, what I've observed in work life, it is everything rises and falls on leadership. And leadership is defined as influence. What are the soft skills that you have to influence people? How do you change people? Because if you are not influenced people using soft skills, then you need really to upskill, you need to really to reskill so that you can start. How can I talk to the CEO that this thing is needed? Do a business case that indeed this organization is suffering because of a culture problem. This organization is suffering because of poor customer-centric philosophies. Do a business case, and try and sit with people. And there's a political waste. I remember somebody who trained me in change management that if you want change to succeed, you cannot afford it. You cannot use it academic. You have to use the political angle. You start influencing people slowly. Even you just plant ideas so that people start buying that idea slowly instead of ambushing. People will see if this change comes, it's going to be a threat. But bring it piecemeal. Start planting. What are we losing by having this type of culture? What are we going to gain by bringing a new culture? So bring those strategies of change management and apply. And what I was going to say, Grace, everything rises and falls of leadership, because of leadership. People leave organization because of leadership. What is leadership? Leadership is not sitting in a comfortable big chair and swinging. No, leadership is a set of skills, is a set of attitude. For example, how do you make decisions? How do you communicate? How do you collaborate? When the organization has a problem of that culture where people do not respond to surveys, for example, that is an indicator of a problem that needs to be cured. And the best thing is for you to start having a business case why you need. I am sure in your professional circle, you've seen people who have changed organizations, and then you wonder, how did this person change this organization? Because it was so toxic. Somebody comes and uses certain change management strategies, and they are able to bring a clean, new culture to the organization. It is something that you need to be trained on culture, on change management. It's something that you need to train yourself what kind of soft skills you need, because we are told that when you reach a certain level in your professional development, the technical skills, yes, they matter, but they are not now the end of everything. You need to start developing your negotiation skills. You need to start, how do I solve conflict? You need to think, how do I solve a crisis? You need to understand, how do I do research? You can easily pinpoint what is the reason why people, for example, are resisting change by observation, by having mystery shoppers. If you want to change a culture problem within a supermarket, there are so many things that have been researched, Grace, that you cannot miss something in the toolbox. That is where now collaboration comes in. That is where you need consultants. That is why you need to be in these webinars. That is why you need to be active. That is why you add more information to yourself so that you can be able to know, how do I get into the mind of somebody who is resisting change? Yes, Grace.
Right. Yeah, so and for this leader who is not cooperating, you can be nice to a certain extent, but at some point you need to be assertive and let them know that what they're doing is not necessarily right. And this is probably where coaching comes into place. They need to realize that what they're doing is not correct, and for that reason, it is not making work move. So you need to handle it. You need to take care of it. Yeah. How about an organization which has never have budgets for training? I know a CEO who was a business development manager, and I told him he needs to do coaching or get insights or mentor, but he says he does not need any training. And now it is like taking a man to therapy, my good friend. The budget for training is fine. They nowadays really training does not have to be done by the organization. If they don't have a budget for training, try your best to make sure that they're getting the training. If they can't, then find smart ways of getting your team trained. You know, share with them materials, share with them clips that they can watch, that they can learn a thing or two. That is the smart way of dealing with it. Now, if this CEO, you know, the learning to take effect, there are people who have to voluntarily, I don't know how Martin puts it, you have to be willing to have an open mind and to take that training and be able to pay attention, to listen to it. So sometimes you cannot force a cow to drink water. So you need to create an environment that they are willing to take it. So for that CEO and for the company that doesn't have a budget, well, come up with smart ways for people to learn. Learning does not necessarily take place here. It does not necessarily take place in where it's an external person leading. Allow people to come and sit for 30 minutes, share something, you as a leader. I'll ask the other person to come and teach processes for other departments. That's also learning that does not necessarily include a budget. So you have to just be creative about different ways where you can actually manage that. And I think with that, Richard, we are done. Maybe you can give a parting shot.
Thank you so much, Grace, for this wonderful conversation that we have had in exchanging how we can make ourselves as professionals better, how we can make our organizations better, because we are interdependent. We need to constantly upgrade our skills. We need to constantly reskill. We need to constantly retool. And most importantly, we need to develop leadership skills so that we can be able to influence. Remember, leadership is defined as influence. It is your charisma. It is your communication skills. It is about your negotiation skills. It is your problem-solving skills. It is about your strategic skills. It is your enthusiasm. It is your energy about something. Most important, if the organization does not change, then you are not a tree. You are not a stuff in a corner. You can be looking for other options whereby your professional excellence is more appreciated than a place where it is a poisonous environment. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a delightful pleasure sharing my reasons how you should promote energy within the organization. My name is Richard J. Magoma. I am a trainer. I am an MC. I am a writer. I train people one-on-one. So don't say that there is no budget. We can sit down and you buy me coffee and that will be enough. Over to you, Grace. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Richard. And thank you for stepping up with me. I mean, if we tell you the truth of how we got here, you guys will wonder what happens in the background for these things to happen. So, at Grace, you don't train, you lower revenue achievements. If you don't train, you lower revenue achievements. That's true. And training, like I said, training does not need to be in a formal setup that takes place. I'm just trying to see the conversation. Do you do job placement for job seekers? Please share a link. Thank you, Atara. We advertise when we have placement, but you can join our WhatsApp group and see because that's where we post first. It's time to catch up with those who think training is useless. I know, right? It will catch up with them for sure. So thank you, Richard. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. I see very, very good comments. Somebody is asking for your contact, Coach Richard. Yes, Coach is on TikTok with Saramuni every now and then. And he's put his number there. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us. Richard, thank you for doing this with me. and it was amazing. And to you, our audience, thank you for making the time to be here. Let's continue sharpening one another. Let's, we say iron sharpens iron. So the more you hear, the more you probably get to learn, and the more we learn through the questions that you ask as well, we get to also sharpen ourselves. So please join our WhatsApp group. I think, Jacinta, I don't know whether you're here, you can share WhatsApp group if you're joining us for the first time. Get It Right with Atara Solutions takes place every Tuesday, so you get to know what's coming. And then as well, please follow us on Instagram. We are at Atara Solutions. Like our Facebook page at Atara Solutions. LinkedIn, we are as well at Atara Solutions. You can also connect with myself and Richard personally. Mine is CHRP Grace Nzula on LinkedIn. Let's connect there. And Richard is at Richard J. Magoma on LinkedIn as well. You can connect there too. And yes, I will share the link because Jacinta, where are you?
Lakini watu wakutane Mombasa mwezi ijayo.
Yes, September 13th. Tukutane Mombasa, tukutane Pwani. September 13th. Invite via link. Please bring the link, copy link. There is our WhatsApp group. Please follow us. Or rather join the WhatsApp group. And yes, let's meet in Pwani on September 13th for networking, for learning as well. And it's going to be at only 1,000 shillings. So invest in yourself. I tell you, invest in yourself and life will invest in you. So thank you very much. Please create safe spaces for your workplaces. Humanize your organizations. And I can tell you, you will not struggle doing those surveys. You will not struggle with quite a number of things. Again, encourage engagement and constantly define the roles of the people you're working with. So with those few remarks, thank you very much and have yourselves a lovely, lovely night. See you next Tuesday, same time, same place, as we have another conversation about workplaces, workers, and the work itself. Have yourselves a good night.
Thank you so much.